The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
To run to states like New York and Illinois to protest redistricting is kind of like running to Wisconsin to protest cheese. It's just kind of outrageous.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for The Factor Uncensored. The battle over redistricting in Texas is heating up. Today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered state troopers to find and arrest Democratic lawmakers who have left Texas. The lawmakers are in different parts of the country because their absence means a vote can't happen on a new Republican proposed congressional map. The new map would effectively hand over 5 seats to Republicans ahead of next year's midterms, according to the Democrats. It has the support of Abbott and President Trump, who argue the state's demographics have changed and the new districts are areas that voted for Trump. Abbott says the lawmakers who left will be fined $500 each day they delay the vote. We talked with the Democrats who are on the run tonight. And they're on the move. Joining us here on The Factor Uncensored from New York, we have State Representative Jolanda Jones. And in Chicago, we have State Representative Ron Reynolds. You guys decide to leave the state of Texas. Ron, establish why for the average viewer who may not be following it play-by-play like many of us in the news and in the legislature are.
Well, Isaiah, the main reason is because President Trump really pimped Governor Abbott and convinced him to draw 5 new Republican seats on the backs of Black and brown people, mostly in the Houston area through the 18th congressional district that was once held by the late, great Barbara Jordan, and most recently by Congressman Sylvester Turner, the 9th congressional district by Congressman Al Green, and the 29th by Sylvia Garcia. This is a racial gerrymander that is intentionally designed to undermine, to pack and crack Black and brown districts so that they can elect Republicans, mostly white Republicans, when the majority of the citizens in this state are Black and brown. African Americans represent more of the state than any other state in the country, in Texas. And this state, based on the 2020 census, was 95% minority growth. And so these Republicans are trying to take us back to the pre-1965 voting rights days, and we broke quorum to stop it from happening. This is an act of good trouble and defiance, and we are doing everything we can to stop the steal.
And when you say break quorum, that means there won't be enough in the Texas legislature to vote and pass this, the changing of the congressional districts. Now, Jolanda, you guys are just not out chilling. You are also out strategizing. You're in New York. You met with some people there. You're headed to Chicago as well. What are those strategies around the country other than just right here in the state of Texas?
So I actually met today with the governor of New York. So we're in Albany. And the leader of the state assembly, which is the same as our state legislature, because we want them to redistrict. They got a Democratic state. So what Abbott is trying to do to us in Texas, then we need to do to him in New York and California and all other Democratic places. And to break quorum specifically, there are 150 state reps. We need 100 of us to do business. There are 88 Republicans and 62 Democrats. So if the Democrats hightail it out of there, they literally can't conduct any business to implement this racist redistricting map. And let me be clear, they are literally trying to take out 2 Black seats. They have pitted Jasmine Crockett in Dallas, who's Black, and Mark Vesey, who's Black, as they whittled it down to 1 Black seat. And they literally moved Congresswoman Crockett to Mark Vesey's district. That's crazy. And then here in Houston, they're trying to take away a seat, but they've literally taken Congressman Green's seat in Fort Bend and made it into CD18 and moved him into CD18. So they literally redistricted his house to be into CD18, and they've made CD9 that he currently represents to be a Hispanic seat. So they're trying to steal our representation. And if we don't fight to keep it, we won't ever get it back. And let me be clear, this is racist. And to anybody who want to say I'm pulling a race card, let me be clear. I will pull that card from the bottom of the deck, middle of the deck, top of the deck. And if we French cut from each one of the stacks in the French cut, because I'm going to pull the race card when they are being racist. If they want me to stop pulling the card, they need to stop being racist.
Now, the governor here. Go ahead.
And he threatened us. Let me be clear. Texas ain't got no jurisdiction in New York, so I don't know he gonna come get me how and do what. And he said we committed felonies. He a lie. The AG can say what he wants to say. He won't even say that we don't have a right to break quorum. In fact, he punted that to the Supreme Court. So the governor is engaging in political theater. He is making up lies, and he is being disrespectful to Black and brown people in this state. And I'm not going to stand for it. We here to fight. Ron is here to fight. The Democrats are here to fight, and we hope y'all fight with us.
Another allegation made by the governor, Representative Reynolds, is taking bribes, saying because you guys are getting assistance, maybe to travel, maybe to stay in Chicago, maybe to stay wherever you're deciding to stay. That's like taking bribes, and that's against the law. Your thoughts about that?
Well, Isaiah, just like Representative Jelana Jones was saying, it's a lie. We know for a fact that we can accept campaign contributions. The law states that you cannot accept a campaign contribution for a favor. In other words, I can't say, hey, if you give me a campaign contribution, I'll break quorum. Us accepting campaign contributions to further our campaign efforts is not illegal. So this is another lie. This is another, their part of trying to distort the facts and misrepresent to the Texas and the American people something that they know that will never be upheld in a court of law. And this is a part of the Trump playbook of Project 2025 to lie, cheat, and steal. And we're not going to go for it. We have our own lawyers. We're going to fight. If they want to fight in court, we'll take this to court, but we're going to do everything it takes. They're not going to intimidate us and silence us to get us to come back so that they can roll over us and pass this racial gerrymandered redistricting map to disenfranchise our communities.
Right. And really quick, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back with State Representative Jelana Jones, who is in Albany, New York, and she's headed to Chicago as well. But stay with us here on The Factor Uncensored. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We're talking to some of the Texas state lawmakers, Democrats, who've broken quorum here in order to prevent a passage of redistricting here in the state of Texas. President Trump has said he wants 5 new Republican seats out of Texas, and that will put several minority districts in jeopardy, according to state lawmakers. Representative Jones, let's get to you. Let's get to you on this. When we talk about breaking quorum, this has happened before, right?
Of course, it's happened before, and Republicans have actually done it. So when we Democrats do this against the law, boy, going on. Ain't nobody worried about you, right? I don't believe that. And let me say something. Governor Abbott does not have courage like the governor of Georgia did when Trump called Georgia and said, hey, find me 11,000 such and such and such of votes. He said that. He was like, no, I'm not going to do it because it's not right and I'm not going to cheat to win. But when Trump called Governor Abbott, he hurried up and said, yeah, I'll create 5 new districts. Well, guess what? And it's not bribery for us to for them to contribute to our campaigns. We broke quorum before anybody even knew about it. We broke quorum yesterday. Y'all only found out about it today because we didn't show up on the floor. But it's just like growing up in the hood. When you grow up in the hood and you in a fight and you think it's a fair fight between you and somebody, and then the next thing you know, you find out they got some people hiding in them bushes over there. You gonna go over there to fight when you know it's 10 people about to jump you? Hell to the no. What you gonna do is you're gonna go get your reinforcements. You're gonna get your plan together to figure out how to beat them. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we are finding allies around this country, and we will fight, and we ain't going back. And guess what? They're not about to take me back to before Jim Crow. It's not about to happen.
Representative Reynolds, piggybacking on what State Representative Jones said, are there no Republican allies that you guys can go to in the state legislature here in Texas and say, you realize, according to you guys, you realize this is wrong, right? Will you stand with us? Are there no Republicans willing to do that?
Well, Isaiah, before Trump, Republicans weren't as afraid, but they seem to be afraid of him for some reason. He has instituted fear in them, and they typically are willing to vote against their own interests. Like when it came to the voucher fight, that voted against their own interests in rural areas where they don't even have any private schools and their constituents didn't want it. So President Trump has a undue influence over them. I don't know what he has over them. Maybe he knows that some of them are on the Epstein tapes. I don't know, but for some reason they're afraid of him. It's almost like blackmail or something. But they know, Isaiah, the answer to your question is there's not one single Republican, even though we had 3 field hearings and a hearing that thousands of people testified that they don't want this map. They don't think it's right, it's fair. And only a handful of people say, yes, it is. They are still willing to do it because Trump has gave them their orders. And they are not willing to break ranks with him for fear that he will primary them, tweet something negative about them that will cause them to lose their seats. They're cowards. They're not patriots. They're not willing to stand up for their constituents, nor they're willing to stand up for Texas. Last time I checked, we're Texas strong. When do we allow a convicted felon to tell us what to do? That is what's happening right now in the Texas legislature. We don't have any more what's best for Texas. Now we have a president who is a dictator, an authoritarian, dictating to Governor Abbott and all of these Republicans what they will and won't do, what they will and won't pass. And it is a dark day for this state and this country.
All right.
I know why they scared, Isaiah, but I know why they scared. I can tell you, in the 88th legislative session, there were 24 Republicans who had the courage to stand up against Trump and against the governor for vouchers. The next time they ran for office, he targeted 24 of them. He took out 15 incumbents. It's very hard to beat an incumbent. And so they are afraid because what he tells them and what he told them about the voucher fight this year is if you vote for vouchers, I will endorse you and I will not primary you. But if you vote against the vouchers, I will primary you and I will put millions of dollars behind you. And so he took out 15 of 24 Republicans, only 9 remain. And those 9 that remain, they all walk lockstep with him, except for 2. I'm not going to mention them because they're not running for re-election. But at the end of the day, they would rather be elected than do what's right by their constituents. And that's cowardice. It's not bravery. It takes courage to lead. And everybody ain't meant to be no leader.
All right. State Representative Jolanda Jones in New York headed to Chicago, and State Representative Ron Reynolds in Chicago. Keep us up to date here in Houston. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on The Factor tonight. And we'll be back with more Factor in just a moment. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. The political tug of war over Texas redistricting continues. Democrat lawmakers have left Texas in a move to block the GOP's redistricting efforts. Governor Abbott says they forfeited their jobs. He says he will try to remove them from office if they don't return. Joining us to talk about it here on The Factor Uncensored tonight, political analyst Angela Box and activist Eugene Howard. Angela, your thoughts, first of all, on Ron and your TV husband and Jolanda.
I actually texted Ron today and I said, Ron, you better get your behind back to Austin or Governor Pritzker's going to eat you. But I think the funniest part about this whole redistricting thing, honest to God, is that they hate Jolanda Jones scratch that. They hate Representative Jasmine Crockett, aka Representative Ratchet, so much. They got rid of her entire district. She used to be in the Texas House, so that tells you they really hated this lady. But anyway, this whole thing is such a sideshow. Talk about political theater. I mean, Republicans are only doing what Democrats have done ad infinitum for these many decades, which is called gerrymandering. And if Democrats want to win elections, they maybe should determine how many genders there are. That could help Democrats, I think.
All right,
but, I mean,
really quick, Eugene, let's hear from you now.
I mean, she's gonna pull out the greatest hits, and man, if you want to start calling people names, man, Hot Wheels is out here tripping. So we're not going to talk about and call people names like that. J.D. Pritzker is our governor, if you just want me to be clear. But what I'm saying is, look here.
Illinois' governor.
No. I'm talking about Governor Abbott.
Oh, you call
you're
go on over.
Listen, just like he's mocked the Constitution, just like he's mocked every black and Hispanic representative in the state of Texas. Because what we're seeing right now is that white Republicans know that they can't go to the people with their policies. Hold on, redistricting happens every 10 years. Where's this mandate? I thought it was such a mandate that y'all was so blusterous. I've been on the show about 6 months. For the last 6 months, I've been hearing all we can do is hear about a mandate. The mandate this, the people want this. Well, it seems like the Republicans know that this administration is effectively going to be over in 18 months.
It absolutely is not. This is just a matter of expanding the majority of the Republican Party. And I will say this, you know, as Democrats or people in blue states and cities continue to flee those jurisdictions because Democrats destroy everything they touch, Democrats are going to lose even more seats. So this is delicious.
And what are your thoughts about Governor Gavin Newsom and New York Governor saying that they will do the same thing that we're doing here in Texas, but for blue seats?
But they've already done it.
No, they have not. They have not. They have not systematically eliminated Republican votes. Listen, Republicans, if you guys want to play this game, if you want to play this game, go ahead. Texas, you want to get 5 seats. I think Illinois, Maryland, New York, California, all these places can do the same thing.
Okay, one at a time. Hold on, Eugene.
All the red states are going to redistrict. I mean, yeah, we can play this game until the end of time. My point is this. Democrats destroy everything they touch. So their citizens are going to be moving to red states. And then Democrats are going to lose seats in the Congress. Democrats, it's so funny, too. Eric Holder came out today and said that this is a, voting rights violation. It's like, oh, so you guys fighting against photo ID and having Democrat shills harvest ballots and want universal mail-in ballot voting, that you then don't want signature verification. Oh, there's no problem with that. But the people in power redistricting, that's the
really quick, Eugene, this is second time in recent memory that the Democrats have done this, 2021 and now 2025. Really quick, though. But should they stay here and fight and try to get the votes they need instead of...
No, because we've seen that this other side does not operate in good faith. We see how this process was rigged from the beginning. They didn't have open hearings. They wanted to make sure they steamrolled things. They gave the map the day before the committee, and magically it was five districts. You can't draw a map like that overnight. So if you think they're operating in good faith, hell no. Go to Chicago, go to New York, go to California. The fight is the fight. Again, you can try to maintain that this mandate, you can try to maintain blah, 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 blah. If your policies were your policies, you wouldn't have to try to change your voters. You would let your voters elect the policies.
All right, Angela, wrap us up.
This isn't 2021 anymore. The Republicans in Texas have grown a pair or two, and these people are going to be arrested, and they better be careful because they're going to lose their seats.
What jurisdiction do they have to go different? What's going to happen?
Texas code, Texas
can't do nothing in Chicago. Texas can't do anything in Illinois. Texas can't do anything in New York. So what do you want to do? You want the federal government to intervene?
They think it's 2020.
I thought it's states' rights. Ain't y'all states' rights?
Okay, one at a time. Go ahead.
States' rights, right?
The same leftist groups.
States' rights.
The same leftist groups that funded their little exodus in 2021 are funding it again, and they are 100% fundraising off of this. This is political
theater. Can I say how that's incorrect?
And guess what? It's going to pass. The map is going to pass.
The reason they came back in 2021, I was in Washington. The reason they came back in 2021 was because of lack of funding. Well, this time we have some of those quote-unquote billionaires that y'all love so much that's willing to stand up and fund democracy.
Oh, you mean like George Soros?
Thank you, guys.